and I've been asked to give my testimony. And I always take advantage of those chances every chance I get. As you can tell by looking at me, I'm 70 years old. I've been a Christian for 58 years. And I've got some stories I can tell you about what God can do for you. I was saved when I was 12. The pastor came to my house, and it was in the summertime. Mom and Dad knew I was under conviction, and they asked Brother Hacker if he'd come by and talk to me. And I was out in the yard playing baseball as usual, and he came by. I went in the house, and in just a very few minutes there, he led me to the Lord. I knew how to be saved. I just needed a little push. And since that time, it's been a wild ride. I'm retired now. I've been fortunate that the Lord has always provided me a good job, a steady job. I had 2 wonderful kids and a great wife, and the Lord has just really taken care of us. There was a time in my life when I felt like the Lord might have got away from me. And about 10 years ago now, something like that, my daughter, who was a children's minister at a big church in Illinois, was killed in a car accident. And I can remember when the pastor called me and told me what was going on, and I can remember what it felt like. And I can remember the first thing saying, Lord, what are we going to do? How are we going to get through this? And my wife was at the beauty shop, and I knew she would be, so I left work, went to the beauty shop, and one of our deacons here went with me to drive her vehicle home. I told her about it, and of course it was a terrible shock, a terrible thing. I can remember that afternoon that all of the deacons, all of the staff, and all of their wives and husbands showed up at our house. We had a prayer meeting right there. No complaints, no griping, a prayer meeting. And it was a great thing, and as I look back on it, it was a wonderful thing to have Christian brothers and sisters that were concerned. I can remember that night, my wife and I, after everyone left, we sat in the living room and had prayer and prayed, Lord, don't let us be mad at you about this, because we could certainly get mad at you. Don't let us do that. Now, as a Christian, I thought this is probably as bad as it gets. I'll never experience anything like this again. Well, I was wrong, as usual, like humans usually are. And a couple of years later, my wife was diagnosed with ALS, or the common name for it around here is Lou Gehrig's disease. We asked the doctor about how long does she have, and the doctor said people don't usually last over 2 years or so. So we took it at that, and again, we were praying, Lord, don't let us get mad at you about this. And almost to the day, 2 years later, my wife passed away in our bedroom at home. My son and I were with her. And as she always did, she had a smile on her face. When she took her last breath, she had a smile on her face. Again, I thought, well, nothing can hurt worse than this. I didn't think anything could hurt worse than losing a child. Then when you lose your wife of 45 years, you see that things can get pretty bad, get worse than you thought they could. And there was a while there that if I had not accepted the Lord as my Savior earlier in my life, there was a time there after I lost my wife that I probably would have died too, just from grief. It was so bad that I could not sit in my house at night with the lights off and watch the TV. I had to be in a lighted room. I didn't want people to come to the house. I didn't want anything like that. So I still had a wonderful Christian son that's got a wonderful family. They've really been a blessing to me, and the Lord has really taken care of us. But to bring this thing to a close, I don't want you to think that I'm up here to gripe about what happened to me, but I'm up here to complain that more people don't have Jesus Christ as their Lord and Savior. When I look around this world today and see how many people are hurting and how many people are despondent, and even as you're watching this, probably you will see this coronavirus thing going on, and people just worried and wringing their hands and just don't know what to do, let me tell you the first thing you need to do. You need to accept Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. If you don't know how to do that, I'm not going to give you my personal number, but a lot of you know me, and you can get a hold of me, and I'll be glad to pray with you and lead you through it. Call Bethel Baptist Church where this is coming from, and anybody will be glad to lead you through it. And that's the first step to getting through the bad things that go on in your life. Let me tell you that Jesus will never leave you. He'll never forsake you, and you'll never feel alone as long as if you'll accept Him as your Lord and Savior. So my time's up. Let's close this deal by just saying that Jesus is the only way through any of this stuff. Thank you.